If you grew up with the internet, your brain developed in a way that has never existed before in human history, and psychologists are just now realizing you possess traits that older generations can't understand and younger generations will never develop. You are the bridge generation, and what you carry inside you is going extinct. Think about it. You remember a world before Google, before smartphones, before social media became everyone's second brain, but you also grew up alongside these things. Watch the digital world being built, real time. You didn't just adapt to technology, you evolved with it. That created something in your psychology, something researchers are only now beginning to understand. Here are the 4 rare traits you probably possess. Trait 1, hybrid learning architecture. You're the last generation that knows how to learn both ways. You remember going to the library, actually flipping through books, using encyclopedias, but you also learned to Google everything, to find answers in seconds. Research shows that people who learn both analog and digital methods develop significantly stronger problem-solving abilities. Your brain can switch between deep, slow thinking and rapid information retrieval. Most people today can only do one. You can do both, and that makes your brain incredibly adaptable. Trait 2, digital emotional resilience. Survived every phase of the internet, the chat rooms, the MySpace drama, the early Facebook, the trolls, the cyberbullying before anyone even had a name for it. You got roasted in forums and had to figure out how to handle it yourself. No parents understood, no teachers could help. You were alone in a digital world, figuring out your own emotional survival. Studies show that people who faced online adversity early develop a unique form of emotional regulation. You learned something most people never will, that words on a screen can hurt, but they can't break you. This is why you can scroll through chaos and still sleep at night. Trait 3, information threat detection. Here's something fascinating. You grew up when the internet had no rules, no verified sources, no fact checkers. You had to figure out yourself what was real, what was fake, what was a virus, what was a scam. You learned to read between the lines, to question everything, to never click suspicious links. Research on digital native shows. Those who grew up in the Wild West era of the internet developed significantly stronger critical thinking skills. You don't just consume information, you automatically filter it. Younger generations trust algorithms. You trust your instincts because you had to. Trait 4, adaptive identity flexibility. This is the trait that ties everything together. You've had more identities than any generation before you. Your AIM username, your MSN display name, your MySpace profile, your first email address you're now embarrassed by. You learned early that identity is fluid, that you can reinvent yourself, that who you were at 15 doesn't define who you are at 30. Psychologists call this identity flexibility, and it's incredibly rare. Older generations had one identity their whole life. Younger generations have their entire history documented online forever. But you know how to shed old versions of yourself and become someone new without losing who you really are. So if you ever feel like you don't fully belong anywhere, too digital for the older generation, too analog for the younger one, here's the truth. You're not stuck between two worlds. You are the bridge. The independence that looks like cynicism, that's wisdom. The ability to disconnect that looks antisocial, that's self-preservation. The constant reinvention that looks unstable, that's evolution. You didn't just grow up with the internet, you grew up with it, side by side, learning together. And that made you something rare, something that will never exist again.
Do tell me if you grow up in this era. Tell me which trait hit you the hardest. And if this explains something about yourself you never understood. Subscribe because we're just getting started. I shall see you in the next one.